Hello and good morning. This is Cody from Secure Agent Mentor and SecureAgentMentor.com. This is Telephone Assassin, one of my funnest podcasts that we do simply because I'm a strong believer in being incredible on the telephone. I believe that the telephone is the greatest sales asset. And that if you are not consciously thinking about being better on the telephone, and improving your skills every single day, then you must be moving backwards. And I feel bad for you because without the telephone, it is impossible to succeed at an extremely high level in the modern telephone age that we live in. Also, you got to be using text messages. You can't just be using the phone. You just can't just be talking on the phone. You got to be using text messages, kind of like our main event show that we went over yesterday. You've got to be able to use text messages. 98% of text messages are opened and read. 98% of all text messages are opened and read. And as we talked about yesterday, I've even sold policies through text message, 100% through text message, to gain personal information and everything through text message, believe it or not. So we started this podcast 3 weeks ago. Our first episode was about the 4 things that you must have, the 4 must-dos: enthusiasm, confidence, control, and assume. I'm assuming, you see what I did there? I'm assuming that you've applied those into your practice, that those are a part of your telephone routine, they're a part of your sales process, and that you're now enthusiastic, confident, in control, and that you're always assuming every step of the way. And so and then the second, that was back on March 28th. The second episode of the Telephone Assassin was about my favorite telephone response, which is, hey, I'm not interested. No, thank you. I'm busy. I don't have time. I already have insurance. I can't afford it. I don't want to talk to you, etc., etc. My favorite telephone response was, hopefully you implement it into your practice so that you can set appointments and sales easier and better by bringing that wall, that defense mechanism that clients use down with that knee-jerk reaction that they give. Normally it's not even a real objection, but now I'm hoping you're saying, hey, great, let me ask you a couple quick questions and we'll take you off of our list. So that was the second episode. Today's episode, the third episode, today is April the 11th of 2017. I'm sitting here looking at my computer and it's 11:04 in the morning. This is the third episode, which is about the 3 A's to overcoming objections and how you can specifically use these to overcome objections and get what you want on the telephone by using these first 3 episodes that we've talked about, including today's episode about the 3 A's to overcoming objections. When I call leads, I get an appointment about 90% of the time, which means I must be a true telephone assassin, that I believe in what I preach, that I practice what I preach, and that I am a firm believer you have to be great on the telephone. So today's the 3 A's to overcoming objections. The first A, agree. Number one rule of sales, always, always, always agree. It is the most important. It's arguably, I would say that they're all equally important, but this one is very, very important because you have to let them know that, hey, I agree with what you're saying. It's a part of the sales process. How often have you made sales where you disagreed with the customer? If you disagree with the customer, or if you say anything that contradicts what they're saying, it doesn't matter what they say. They could say the most ludicrous, crazy thing in the world. Agree. It doesn't mean that you always necessarily agree with everything that they're saying. It just means that you're not an idiot and that you understand that the first rule of sales is to always, always, always agree, and that you're never going to make a sale by disagreeing with anyone. I don't care if they talk about your mama. Agree. Always, always, always agree. We are in this business to get them coverage and to make us money. And by agreeing, those things will happen much easier and much quicker than by disagreeing. We do not make sales by disagreeing. So the first A, agree. Always, always, always agree. What does that look like? When the client says, you know what, I'm not interested. Fantastic. That is awesome. That didn't even necessarily mean that I agreed with what they were saying. It just at least meant that I was going along with them, and that I was positively empathizing with their response, and that I understood it, and that I technically acted like I agreed with them. First step, agree. This is tough because most individuals, most salespeople, they want to be a little bit negative. They want to give a response that isn't 100% in agreement. We've got a rule here, no negativity allowed. I do not allow negativity in my office. I do not allow negativity with my friends. I do not allow negativity whatsoever at any time. I just got my wisdom teeth out this past Friday. I did a live show yesterday. I'm doing a podcast today. I had people that said, "Hey, you won't be able to talk for a week." I said, "You know what? You're probably right. But watch and see." I agreed. I made them think that they you know what? You're right. I've heard the exact same stories from other people. But let's make one thing clear. I'm a different beast. So that you have to use that in everyday life. Start to practice that. We have this deal where with this 24-hour rule. I want you to go from the end of this podcast. I want you to try to agree for 24 straight hours. I want you to try to agree with everything that everyone ever says to you. It's much tougher than you think to actually agree, but I want you to try to do two things for me. I want you to try to agree and be positive to everything that everyone else says and everything that comes out of your mouth over the next 24 hours. Just try it. See how long you can go. I'm not perfect. I don't accomplish it every single day, but I can promise you I'm going to do my dead level best to agree and be positive. Because if I'm agreeing and I'm positive, I'm much easier to get along with. I'm getting along with other people much easier. And when they're getting along with me and I'm getting along with them, I have a much better chance of making sales and making money, which is exactly why I'm here. So first A, always agree. Second A, answer. You could even call it acknowledge, but you've at least got to answer what they're saying, their objection, their rebuttal, their response, their knee-jerk reaction, their complaint, whatever you want to call it, their excuse. You've at least got to be answering or acknowledging what they're saying. And so what that looks like, hey, I've already got insurance. The first day agreement, fantastic. I understand. The answer part, a lot of my clients said the exact same way and felt the exact same way until they realized what I can do, how freaking awesome I am, and what we're going to do for you. That's the answer stage. You have to be able to seamlessly walk them from anytime you get an objection, you have to be able to walk them from the agreement stage into the answer acknowledgement stage and then to the ask. So when they say, you've got to be able to logically agree and answer what they're saying. You can't just ignore what they're saying. A lot of times we really are ignoring them, but we want them to at least make them think that we hear them and that we are doing what they want, and that we at least admit that we are listening. That's the goal here. They have to realize that, hey, this person gets me. We're on the same page. They're listening. They understand me. When those things are taking place, you have a much better chance of making sales. So agree. They say, hey, I'm not interested. Perfect. I love when people say that because, all my clients felt the exact same way when we first met. And then I'm going to go into the ask, which is the third A, the ask, which is arguably the most important. I would say that the beginning and the end are the two most important stages. The middle is still also important because you got to let them know, hey, I'm listening. But if you don't ask, what are they going to do? Because let's think through this. If I said, hey, that's fantastic, I understand. A lot of my clients felt the exact same way until they realized what I can do. If I stop there, they're going to say, you know what? You're right. Or, which is rare that they would ever say that. I was just testing you there. They would normally say, you know what? I'm good. thank you, I appreciate what you're saying, but I'm good. Because we didn't ask. We didn't try to close. We didn't move into the third stage. It doesn't work without all three steps. So you agree, you answer, then you move into the ask. Because if you don't ask, they're gonna assume control of the conversation. They're gonna give you another objection, or they're gonna say, you know what, I'm too busy. I don't have time. Thanks for calling. I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. I'm good. But if you move into the ask, you got a better chance of getting what you want, which is they say, hey, I'm not interested. Fantastic. I understand. A lot of my clients felt the exact same way, and they told me the exact same thing until they realized what we could truly do. I realize you're saying you're not interested. I'm going to be out in your area anyway. Why don't I drop off the information that you requested? I'll be in your area on Thursday. Would you prefer 10 o'clock or 2 o'clock? That's the ask. Once we move into the ask and we ask them or we go for the close, it does a couple things. They realize that we're in agreement, that we're positive, that we listened to what they said, but we're establishing control. And a lot of times they forget, by the time I agree, answer, and ask again, they forget what they said to begin with. They forget what their actual supposed objection was. And then when I go through the three A's, the triple threat, the triple A's, by the time I get to the ask and I ask, they have to answer. And they're like, well, yeah, I guess 10 o'clock will be better. By using these three A's, I get appointments with 90% of leads that answer the phone, if not higher. Almost, I believe, which goes back to assuming, I believe that everyone I talk to, I can get an appointment. If I didn't do these things subconsciously and didn't think through the three A's, that wouldn't be the case. I've got these three A's for a reason. You know what I mean? And so we've got to be able to do those things. And so, okay, the three A's, overcoming objections, you got to be able to agree, answer, and ask. If you're not doing those, you have to agree, answer, and ask every step of the way. The ask is important because if you don't ask, they're going to assume control and they're going to absolutely take charge. So this is telephone assassin, the three A's to overcoming objections. Implement these into your business, and you will set appointments and make sales that you never thought possible. Thanks for listening, Telephone Assassin. Every single Tuesday, we're going to bring something about the telephone, a specific implementation to help you make more money and make more sales. Again, this is Cody from Secure Agent Mentor and secureagentmentor.com. If you haven't checked out our website, we've got tons of free stuff, the best leads in the industry, a membership that is absolute best on the planet with more content and knowledge than anyone else for only $19. I'm telling you, if you haven't checked out our website, you are missing out. We've got daily success tips, blogs, podcasts, videos, tons of free stuff. Again, go to secureagentmentor.com. Again, thanks for listening. Have an incredible week. Be a telephone assassin. See you next week.